Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing the K-1 fiancé visa to the United States as well as immigrant spouse visas. I guess you could throw the K-3 spouse visa into this category. As noted in other videos prior to this one that I've made, the K-3 has largely fallen into disuse. There may be some limited circumstances presently where a K-3 may be optimal, especially under the current circumstances involving really the rather, it's hard to call our immigration system anything other than broken at this point. I'm not going to get too far into that sort of negative rabbit hole, but yeah, it is. That's why we're revisiting the issue of timing of K-1s versus immigrant spouse visas, and because it's kind of an acute issue. If you're looking at trying to bring a loved one back to the United States, and you're trying to decide, do I do a K-1 fiancé visa? Do I bring her in on an immigrant visa? How do I do this? Him or her on an immigrant visa? How do I do this? It's going to depend on your circumstances, and it's going to depend on how willing you are to have to deal with the back end of the K-1 process, especially that being so-called adjustment of status to green card status in the United States. Whereas those who enter the United States in immigrant spouse visa status enter with their green card already dealt with. Now, the problem with the latter option is that it takes longer, substantially longer, in fact, and you have to deal with things like the National Visa Center, which aren't nearly as big of an issue in the K-1 process, although we're starting to see a backlog involving NVC and getting interview appointments here at the embassy, which that's its own issue. I probably should make a video on that in and of itself. But long story short, yeah, we still, trying to decide what visa is best in your and your loved one's circumstances, that's going to be something that's going to be based on a pretty in-depth scrutiny and analysis of one's factual circumstances, because there are going to be cases where perhaps a fiancé visa is more optimal, whereas there's also going to be other cases where immigrant spouse visas may be optimal. Again, it's going to be determined by the prevailing facts in the underlying case.